Hi everyone, Linda and Nicole here from Leader Lab. Thanks so much for clicking play. We want to take you through a human behaviour model to explain what's behind behaviour, why we do the things that we do. And this is all part of our WTF Masterclass series. So I'm just going to flick up on the board I'm going to show you this model so we can go through and explain that to you. So Nick, can you see that?
Sure can, that looks great, thank you.
Excellent, beautiful. So that means everybody else can see it as well. So this model that we're going to show you has 3 layers. It's really super duper simple. And at the first layer, we have the core. The middle layer, we have crap. And the outside layer is about cover up. And we're just going to give you a bit of an explanation on each of these layers and then talk to you about how this impacts our behaviour. So when you look at the core, this is about the way that we are wired. It's our personality, it's our behaviour, it's the stuff that, as I say, that we're born with, that's in our DNA, and it's all of us. And again, I think lots of people have said, you know, that we're born with everything we've ever needed. But we've lost it along the way, and that is where the crap comes into it. And Nick, do you want to talk a bit more about the crap?
Yes, I do. The crap is how life happens, when life happens to us. So the acronym we have there for crap is criticism, ridicule, anxieties, and persistent fears, doubts, and shame. And we think that sums up nicely. It's not everything, but it gives you the flavour beautifully of what we mean when we say crap. It's what happens to us when we go out. So we're born beautifully, as Linda said, full of all of the aspects within us that we need for life, but we go out into the world and some of these things happen. And I wonder if this relates to you. Can you remember being criticised? Do you remember experiencing being ridiculed? And as a result of the criticisms and the ridicule, you have anxieties over showing those things again for fear that the same thing will happen. And that's where those persistent moments of fear and doubt or shame come from, because we're acutely reminded or we are acutely aware of those moments that caused us pain and suffering and hurt and separation. That is the crap. And like crap, like the saying goes, when you throw shit at a wall, some of it sticks. And unfortunately for us as humans, for all of us, some of this stuff sticks. And as a result, it changes the way we show up. It changes the way we show up because we choose to cover a lot of this crap up for fear that people will see it and create more pain and suffering. And so the loop goes on. So Linda, over to you for cover up.
Yeah. Well, one of my favourite subjects is that cover up. So we all wear masks, and you know, and masks is kind of the common term. We're not talking about coronavirus masks right at the minute. We're talking about the masks that we wear to stop people from seeing that crap. You know, we want to show up authentically, and often we feel like we're authentic. But pretty much most of the time, and depending on the situation we're in, we put on a mask because we don't want people to see those things that we've been shamed or ridiculed, or those fears or those doubts. And those masks can be incredibly draining when we're wearing those all the time. What happens too when we wear that mask, and it drains our energy, and maybe we're in an area, and work is one of those things in particular, where somebody scratches the surface of the mask. You know, they may be we feel like someone's trying to get in and understand why we're doing what we're doing, and then we start becoming unresourceful. So we can either overfunction or we underfunction in our behaviour. And this is the stuff that, from a leadership point of view, we're like, why are people doing that? What the beep?
Yeah.
So that's the model. And now let's just, Nick, maybe talk about a couple of things to bring that to life. I'm going to take that off the screen. But do you want to talk about maybe where where you've seen people wearing masks, or maybe wearing and you've worn a mask before?
Well, I think even before we get to that beautiful moment where you just shared under-functioning and over-functioning, I wonder if people are starting to wonder what that might be. So when we experience crap, we choose a mask. It's like a shield. It's like armor. It's called lots of different things, so that people don't get close to that, because that ring of crap caused us pain. And our whole time we're striving, whether you know it or not, consciously or not, to fit in. We're trying to appear normal, whatever normal is. But you think back to when you're at school, that's when life started to really happen to us, from my memory anyway. We start to adjust. People's giving us feedback about things that they don't like, and that hurts. So we want to protect ourselves from the judgment of others, from the ridicule, from feeling separate to everything. So we try on, having to adjust to meet the needs of others rather than listening to ourselves. And we let others determine how we need to be to show up, which ultimately results in these roles. Now, these roles, depending on your experience, and of course it's kind of context dependent, but we either go over-functioning, which has the flavour of I am right, I'm moralistic, a bit of FU, and rigid in the way that we appear. We go very heavy on the thinking and the task. We call that auditory digital, which just means we prioritise thinking, getting it right, being the best, hence the over-functioning. And there are roles that come in that flavour, Linda.
Yep, there sure are roles that come in that flavour. And actually, as you were talking about the FU moment,
yep.
In my rebellious days, and that is a role that I have played, in my rebellious days, I actually wanted to get a number plate for my car. So I was 17, I had this little hot car and mag wheels, and I wanted to get a number plate that said FU with the number 2. True story. So going back to, those roles. So, we can play roles like the rebel.
Yeah.
We can play roles like the control freak. There are so many roles that we play, which becomes our mask, because we don't want people to get in kind of behind the mask and see who we really are. Yeah. And, you may have heard of the term imposter syndrome. Loads and loads of people say they have had at some point in their life imposter syndrome, because on the outside they look like they know what they're doing and they know what they're talking about, but on the inside they're like, I don't feel like I'm even good enough to be here. I don't know that I actually belong here, because I'm scared that you're going to find out the real me. Yeah. And have you ever had that?
Oh gosh, absolutely. I still have moments like that, but at least now through this framework, I can understand what's going on and just take a moment and feel into what's happening. And I think too, it's funny that you say that, because when we're over-functioning, just to give another layer, we rely more on thinking, and we usually under-emote. We deny how we feel. So we just plow through. And this is a flavour of unresourceful behaviour of over-functioning people. And the over-functioning is a level of unresourcefulness, that go hard, drive hard, at all costs kind of behavioural type. Because then there's the other swing, the swing of the other side of the pendulum, which is the under-functioning, which is very shameful. It's, I'm never good enough. I criticise myself. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally makes sense. And what comes to mind is that, like often I've heard men say that they have learned to hide their weaknesses and and their feelings, because when they were kids they weren't allowed to. So you get them into the workplace now, and then suddenly they look like they don't care about people so much, or I'm talking very generally here, but they might look like they don't care, and they just plow through and they just want to get things done, regardless of how they're feeling or other people are feeling. And
well, it's typical in the workplace, isn't it? When that funny meme that we see all the time. When a man looks in the mirror, he sees a lion reflected back at him, because he's been told always as a child, mask your fear, toughen up, boys don't cry, whatever that, you know, thread of unresourceful messaging is, that they learn to see themselves as strong, and that's the way to hide a weakness. Women, when they look in, you know the one I'm talking about, when women look back, that's not what they see. They see all the failings and the gaps and the voids.
Yes.
Because, you know, when a woman is told, and of course this is a different kind of conversation, but it goes to the same messaging. It goes to that crap layer, the messages that we've received, the information we've been told. When we've shown a certain behaviour and people have gone, don't do that, we don't like that, you hide that, you suppress that aspect of yourself. Yet it's still an aspect of you and it's healthy at a particular time, but you've learned to put it away. And hence we get that particular model of role that we choose, or weapon or armor that we bring out.
Yeah, and I love the term armor, and yeah, it's that shield that we have. We don't, as I say, we don't want people to see the real us. And sometimes when we, you know, if somebody gets close to the surface, we do have that unresourceful behaviour, and we are controlling, we are bullying, we are impatient. Maybe we come across as being really stubborn or passive aggressive.
Yeah.
So all these things that come about, anyway, we're going to talk about that more in the masterclass. So this is a really good preface to the next couple of masterclasses, where we're going to be talking about those aggressive assholes and also the impulsive overtalkers. And the following week we'll be talking about the remind me.
Stubborn change resistors.
That's it. And Captain Critical.
Yeah.
So yeah, we want you to understand really what's behind the behaviour, because in those next couple of masterclasses, we're going to talk more about the behaviour and what to do about it. Yeah. So, yeah, hopefully, or I trust that you got a bit out of this very, very simple model that we're sharing with you in a very super speedy way, to help us as we get through the next couple of sessions in the series. So we might wrap that up, Nick.
Yeah, that sounds like a perfect place to wrap up. So thank you. Again, we encourage any type of collaborative communication. So if you've got more questions, thoughts, comments, what you like, what you're becoming aware of as a result, please feel free to email us or even pop a note on our Facebook page. We love that type of communal conversation. But we look forward to unpacking this further in the room with you this Thursday. So thank you very much for paying attention.
Yeah, thanks. See you there.
Bye now.